You can have high tech, but you need to have high touch. People don't like to talk to robots. That's the truth. After some time, people get fed up. They need that human connection, but we crave for that human touch. We're just waiting to go out and talk to people. We can work from home, but we're waiting to go and be with our colleagues in office. We want to see the eyes of the other person. So no matter, we can be very productive. We can do everything that we can do from home. There's no doubt about it. But that human connection can never be taken away.
We have the pleasure of welcoming Jeevan D'mello today to our interview series. I'm Sumita Mariam from the peopleHum team. Before we begin, just a quick introduction of peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and the video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year, and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest, Jeevan D'mello is the CEO of Genesis Corporation. He's also the co-author of the best-selling series of books, The World's Best Real Estate Managers. He's a highly sought-after leadership speaker, trainer, and a community management expert. Bringing with him a diverse experience in a multitude of fields, we are happy to have someone of his stature on our interview series today. Welcome, Jeevan. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you very much, Sumita. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. I feel so happy to hear that.
It's absolutely our pleasure. And Jeevan, going on to the first question I had for you, can you tell us a little bit about your work as a community management expert? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Absolutely. And just to tell you about real estate community management, and this is very, very connected to the other real estate management professions. So real estate management is an umbrella of various professions within the real estate space. And within that, we have different type of professions. We have the property manager, and the property manager is someone who looks after people's personal properties. And then we have the facilities manager or the facility management people, and they look after all the nuts and bolts and the cleaning and the disinfection and the maintenance of the various communities. And then you have the asset manager who looks after the financial aspect of a real estate project. And last but not the least, and probably the smartest group of all, what we call the community management people. And we are looking after the communities as a whole. So the real estate communities, in India, they're called cooperative housing societies. In Dubai, they're called owners associations. In the USA, they're called HOAs. In Australia and in some other parts, they're called body corporates. Very similarly, these are all communities, real estate communities, where people own and live together. So this is the profession, community management. A little bit about myself. I'm an architect by profession. And while I started my career as an architect, I was very privileged to hand over the first freehold community in Dubai. And when I handed off that first property to an expatriate, because before 2002, you were not allowed to buy property in this part of the world. But in 2002 onwards, people were allowed to buy properties. And I was the first, I had the privilege of handing over the first one. And ever since that time, I've managed over 170 towers and 14,000 villas here in Dubai. I'm always also privileged to be one of the first members of the Burj Khalifa community. The Burj Khalifa, of course, is the tallest tower in the world. And I managed the tower for many, many years. I left about 2 years ago, and I've started my new business and my consultancy program, Genesis Corporation, of which I am the CEO today.
That's wonderful. And while going through your LinkedIn profile, we saw this particular term called happiness evangelist. Can you tell us a little bit about your work as a happiness evangelist?
So I'm a great believer in happiness as a whole, and I also believe that happiness is a choice. A lot of people say, I'm not happy because of him or because of her, or you don't make me happy, or she doesn't make me happy, or he doesn't make me happy. I believe happiness is an inside job. Only you can make yourself happy. No one else can make yourself happy or unhappy. And so I'm on this mission of promoting this whole theory, or it's not really a theory anymore, a real fact of that you cannot depend on somebody else for your happiness. Now, don't get confused about human emotions. For example, we may feel happy today, we may feel sad, we may feel stressed out, we may be depressed, we may be angry. Especially now during these trying times, people have a whole range of emotions. And there's nothing wrong with these emotions. They are neither right nor wrong. These are human emotions. And as human beings, we will feel this every day, every single day. So there are many times that I also feel a little happy, I feel a little sad, I feel a little stressed out, and so on and so forth. The question here that I ask people is, what are you doing about it? So when you look at all these emotions and all the situations you're in, and when you ask yourself this question, and then you take actions to circumvent these emotions, you take actions to go above and beyond it, that's where you can really start making changes in your life and how you can become happy. And so my mission is really to talk to people about this and evangelize, therefore evangelize this whole aspect of happiness. And I do this by my social media channels, my posts, my blogs, my articles. I'm also very pleased to tell you I'm writing a new book. It's called Happy Dubai. And it's a book all about stories of happiness being delivered by ordinary people here in Dubai. So, ordinary people who are delivering extraordinary gifts of happiness by helping other people, by supporting causes, by doing things that can really deliver happiness.
All the best and congratulations for that book.
Thank you.
So, while we deal with emotions and things like that, my next question for you would be, how would you advise, leaders of today who are suddenly forced to manage a remote team?
Yeah, today, actually, leadership has become very critical, far more critical than before. Today, bosses have really have to step up. This is the time for us leaders to show our leadership. You know, I don't know if you've heard of this team, servant leaders. Servant leaders are those people who are no longer just the boss. I mean, it's easy to become a boss and it's easy to behave as a boss. But behaving as a servant, behaving as someone to support you, that's very critical today because a lot of people are going through stress, anxiety, anger, depression. Here is the time for us leaders to go and talk to those people. We need to be there for our teams. This is where coaching, mentoring comes into play, encouraging them to learn, to grow. We got to tell our people to stop reacting and begin responding. Reset, rethink, relearn, reinvent. These are the terms I'm using with a lot of people today because it's very important for us leaders to understand these terms. Constant communication with the teams because everyone is working remotely. So even me and my staff, we are all working remotely. But every morning I talk to my staff. We talk about different things, what is happening during the day, and I always give them tips of what they can do for themselves. So we need to re-energize our teams as leaders, and we have to also instill some self-discipline. And what I mean by self-discipline is that now people are working remotely. There is no boss or supervisor that's breathing down their shoulder and looking at what they do. So it's time for self-discipline. We've got to really understand that we are at home, we're working from home, but we are working. And therefore, we need to set a timetable. We need to work in a quiet space. We've got to tell our spouse or our better halves or our kids to respect that space. And as leaders, we need to give these tips to our employees and to our partners.
That's wonderful. And that I think that's very relevant now. And also, according to you, what would be the top three things that organizations of today have to focus on to increase the employee engagement and improve the experience of employees in organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said earlier, this is probably the best time for us to prove our worth, both for the employer and for the employee. And for the employer or for the manager, he or she has to really think of many different items. For me, the top three would be: the first one is creating a support structure for our teams. Now, when I say support structure, I'm talking about different things. I'm talking about physical, I'm talking about emotional or psychological, I'm talking about intellectual and professional as well. And now, why all these? Many people would say, listen, you're just an employer. They're supposed to do what you tell you. You don't have to worry about all these things. No, and I believe we must worry about all these things. Because when we employ someone, when someone is working for us, we are employing the whole person. It's their physical, it's them physically, it's them mentally, it's them psychologically, emotionally. Everything comes into play. And if we provide a support structure for them, when I mean support structure, I'm talking about how is their well-being? Are they okay? Are they physically okay? Do they have the right environment to work from? Do they have a good, strong internet connection? Do they have enough medication? Is enough food? Are the kids well taken care of? So we as employers must look at that aspect to it. Then we're talking about emotionally. Are you stressed? How can I help you? Okay, maybe you need to take a day off. Don't worry about it. So we need to give all these different aspects in the social structure. The second one is, of course, coaching and training. I'm a great believer in coaching and training because we need to prepare our employees and our partners, our co-workers, for the future as well. So it's not just today, it's for tomorrow. And how can they get better? Today, there are so many opportunities available. I'm doing almost one course per day, or at least another webinar. There are courses by Coursera, Udemy, EDX, LinkedIn Learning. I mean, there are courses about everything you can think of. So it's a good time for us to tell our employees, please develop yourself. Okay, try to do what you can do to be a better person when you come out of this pandemic. The third thing, and I think a very important thing for us managers and bosses and employers, is giving a clear vision of the future, especially today. We need to tell our people we are going to come out of this and we are going to come out of it strong. And this is what we are going to do for the future. So don't lose heart. We are not going to close down. We are not going to shut shop. We are going to do this. But guess what? We are going to do this plus this. So that's what I told my staff. In fact, I told them that nobody has worked from home before. But after this, I'm going to offer them all an opportunity to work from home, maybe one day a week, maybe twice a week, or maybe work 1 week off from home and 1 week in the office. Many of them loved the idea because they said, hey, we get a chance to be with our family. We get a chance to refresh ourselves. So we need to be very clear about this. And I always believe we need to choose clarity over cleverness. We don't need to be clever. We don't need to tell our people we are smarter than them. We just need to tell our people, here is a clear vision. So clarity over cleverness.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if they go there and tell, my experience there, you enriched my life with so much experience, that is something to be proud of. And also, along the same lines, how would you describe, the balance between the human intelligence and with with the increase in technology, we have artificial intelligence. How do you keep the balance to keep an organization alive and the employees happy?
There's a lot of talk today on artificial intelligence, AI, and big data, and bots, and all sorts of new technologies, which is very, very important. There's no doubt about it. We don't really have a choice. That's where we are going. But human intelligence can never be thrown away from the side. AI is AI. So, the way I look at it is that you can have high tech, but you need to have high touch. People don't like to talk to robots. That's the
Yeah.
truth. After some time, people get fed up. They need that human connection. If you look at life today is a perfect example. We are under a lockdown, but we crave for that human touch. We're just waiting to go out and talk to people. We can work from home. but we're waiting to go and be with our colleagues in office. We want to see the eyes of the other person. So no matter, we can be very productive, we can do everything that we can do from home. There's no doubt about it. But that human connection can never be taken away. Same thing with customer service. And I do a lot of work with customer service professionals. I do a lot of training for customer service. And I've seen with all my studies and all the people I've interacted, there's a big difference when they're talking to a bot or talking to a kind of an automated system, and when they're actually talking to a human being. And when they actually meet the human being, the situation completely changes. So I've had conversations with people on the phone and they've been kind of convinced, but when I've met them in person, they have been totally convinced. Because that's where we are good at as human beings. We have that emotion, we have that touch with people, that people believe us when they see us. So there will always be artificial intelligence, and bot will help us do a lot of our work, but it can never take away from us what is intrinsically ours, these human emotions and this human intelligence.
That's a wonderful answer. I mean, most of the IQ part of whatever humans are doing, robots or artificial intelligence might be able to cover a little bit of it. But the emotional quotient, the emotional intelligence that we exhibit, that humans have to do that part of it.
Absolutely,
That,
absolutely.
that's a wonderful answer. And we have an increasing millennial workforce right now, and with the increase in the millennial workforce, the gig economy is gaining momentum. And it's not like the small jobs anymore, and there are executives who likes to work in the gig economy. So how do you think this is going to fit in the organizational structure?
You know that I'm a great lover of the gig economy, actually, and it has been very vibrant in the past few years, but it's not been taken seriously enough, in my opinion. Because we have looked at giggers as people, they're trying to work from home, they're doing all these small things, they're earning small dollars, they're not really making a big difference. But I tell you, with this crisis and the quarantine, it has essentially made all of us giggers, right? It's made all of us working from home. We are learning, we are working, we're taking care of our family, we are looking for the next hustle. We're doing a lot of stuff that giggers do, because a gigger is a person who's working remotely outside the office environment. They're working from cafes, they're trying to figure things out. They don't have enough money to pay for great design, so they're learning how to design on Canva. They are doing videos by posting on YouTube. They're testing and they're trying many different things. And they're also looking at different income streams, not depending on just one income stream. So, for example, in the morning, the person might be a blogger, then that person might be a designer, and then in the afternoon, he might be an Uber Eats delivery person. In the evening, he might be driving an Uber or a Lyft or an Ola cab. So, a gig worker is actually wearing many different hats and reinventing themselves on many different levels. I believe now we are essentially all following in the same footsteps. People are looking at this side hustles, people are looking at other ways to gain income. And I believe that this is going to be the new normal. I believe the gig economy will only grow stronger, become more vibrant, and it will become a force to reckon with.
Yeah, that is a great opinion, and I think after we come out of this, more people are going to want to try out a lot of things as gig, because most of them are learning a lot of side businesses right now when they're in quarantine. So yeah, that's a very valid point.
Absolutely.
And Jeevan, just to wrap up the interview, if you have any last sound bites that you would like to leave our audience.
Absolutely. I mean, I know sometimes it might be a little insensitive to say this, but I can look at this quarantine time uh, in a different light. We can look at this quarantine time as a very depressing, a very disastrous situation. And it is in a lot of ways when people have lost a lot of loved ones, we've lost our jobs, we've halved our salaries. Yes, there are those very serious things. But again, going back to my happiness evangelization mode, I look at all these as opportunities. And I believe this is an opportunity for us to reset. Essentially, this is what's happened. We have reset our lives. So, reset, rethink, refresh, and reinvent. And what I mean is that here is an opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves. We can upgrade ourselves with new courses. We can upskill ourselves. We can develop a personal brand. We've heard a lot about personal branding, but here is an opportunity for us to develop the personal brand. Go and look at our LinkedIn profile. Are we really putting the right information there? Do we have the right usernames? When we search for us in Google, what type of things do people see about us? Have we updated our CVs, etc.? Relook at your passion. See how they fit in your personality. Because a lot of us are passionate about a lot of things. We may love to sing, we may love to cook, we may love to garden, but we've kind of not looked at that all these years. Here's the opportunity for us to relook at that and make your passion into a profit or make it into your paycheck. So a lot of people that I know are actually doing this right now. A friend of mine who loves to sing just yesterday launched his own YouTube channel where he's playing music and he's actually singing, and he's already got like 500 followers in a day. So this is just giving you one example of someone close to me who's done something amazing. I also believe this is an opportunity for us to look at creating multiple sources of income. So we don't rely just on one job. We rely on 2, 3 different type of jobs connected to our passion or talents that can earn us this money. And with all this, I think we'll be ready for the post-pandemic era.
That's wonderful. That's quite the last note of positivity that we need for our audience. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
And
you, Sumit.
this has been an absolutely enriching experience for me personally, because I've learned a lot of things. And, talking to a guru one-on-one is definitely better than reading a book. So I'm sure our audience is also going to gain the same experience, the same, knowledge that I have gained right here. So thank you so much for that. And I wish you all success in your future endeavors and have a happy and healthy time ahead of you.
Thank you very much. It's been my absolute pleasure talking to you. And I'm very, very happy to do further webinars when it's required. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.